is good, defenders, and welcome to episode 350. That's right, episode 350 of Defenders of the Bank, the LAFC podcast that your mother warned you about. Clearly, Bam flying in. That gave us the 3 points right there. Bam from Australia. We're so happy that you are back in the United States, at least for a little bit. Enjoy Universal Studios today, bud. This is episode 350 called Taking Care of Business in Kansas City. And boy, did LAFC get things back on the right track. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert. Good morning, everybody. Rise and shine here on a beautiful Sunday, March 23rd. And sitting across the interwebs from me with some explaining to do with what's going on in the background today, I give you LAFC Laugh Chris Lafferty.
Good morning, Defenders. I am feeling easy on this Sunday morning today. Everything is just going smoothly. Everything went my way perfectly yesterday. And I will do some explaining, JR, as soon as you tell the people what it is I have to explain about.
Yeah, so we obviously are a Los Angeles-based podcast. And as such, as you all know, I have been and will always be a diehard fan of the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, Kobe Bryant being my spirit animal when it comes to athletes that I looked up to growing up. I grew up also in the heyday of Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But I will say this. As a 10, 11, 12-year-old-ish, I took a little detour and jumped on the bandwagon along with, I don't know, all of planet Earth for a little bit, except for Philly, who was being beaten with his New York Knicks against this team. But the issue that I have here, sir, is that there's a Bulls jersey up in the background. Now, please explain to the millions.
Oh, and millions.
What the heck is going on behind you?
Well, I'm filling in for Philly, and normally he's the obscure sports fanatic, sports team fanatic. So I figured, well, why not bring a little bit of my own flair in that regard to the podcast? So we had, I don't know if you saw the scoreline or anything, but yesterday, at the same time as our beloved LAFC was playing, my childhood team since childhood, the Chicago Bulls were playing the Los Angeles Lakers, and they won. They won just by a little bit. They almost put up 150 points on the beloved Lakers, and I don't know. My jersey just happened to fall up onto the set today. So being a man of the people and being a man of Los Angeles, I will take it down so as not to further enrage any of our viewers here. Okay.
Yeah, I rate it exactly what that jersey number is up there. That's a 0 in my book, that's for sure. But yeah, man, I was Josh Giddey on like quadruple double watch last night, 2 steals away. My goodness. Look, I am a diehard Lakers fan. This isn't obviously a Lakers podcast, but I was super excited when we got Luka. And if not for Luka last night, we're losing by 104 in that game. So, thank you for taking that down so that we can see all the other beautiful LAFC paraphernalia. Eric Hulstrom in the chat. What's good, my friend Eric? It's good to see everybody. Now that we got the aberration out of the way behind one Chris Lafferty, I do have to say, for everybody out there, I need to take a quick moment to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, not just for the support of 350 episodes and countless one more sleeps and wherever we go. You guys are always super nice to us. But thank you to the millions
and millions
for the wonderful birthday wishes over the course of this last week. My birthday was March 20th, which was Thursday. And so many of you guys reached out, sent messages, posted on stuff. And I got to say, I'm just overwhelmed and so appreciative of all of the birthday wishes that I received. This, of course, is my Jackie Robinson year. I am 42. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what 2025 and, a little bit of 2026, because that's part of it, it has in store for me, excuse me. But seriously, I appreciate every single one of you who reached out, who messaged, and Ruben, no softball today. I'm trying not to injure myself before I take 26 middle schoolers to Costa Rica next week on a service trip. So again, from Scarf to you, thank you all so much for the incredible birthday wishes.
Scarf, I just want to say it was fun to be on social media and see all of the birthday tributes to you, and I think it's just a wonderful example of how special you are to the LAFC community and to everybody. So, I wished you a happy birthday, but I want to echo what everyone said, and without you, this whole LAFC experience is just not the same. So, my friend, happy birthday and do a good year ahead.
Thank you, my friend. And again, to Philly, because you guys all read Philly's post. Philly was the one that did that post. That's the kind of person that Philly is right there. He lays it all out there. And I so appreciate everything that he wrote. And obviously, again, all the well wishes. Absolutely fantastic. Not a big day of LAFC, or a big week anyway, of LAFC news and notes. I guess the biggest thing on LAFC news and notes radar is that they actually had an entire week of training for the first time since like mid-February, not playing 4 games in a week. Omar, appreciate you, brother. Not playing 4 games in a week was pretty incredible. So on the news and notes, we're a little light. But let's get into this day in LAFC history, one of my favorite segments that we do on here. And of course, the match was played on Saturday, March 22nd. So if we look back on March 22nd in LAFC history, we've got the birthday of the Ghost. That's right. March 22nd, 1994, the ghost of Alejandro Guido was born. He was all set to check into one match, was told, nah, never mind. Looks like Carlos Vela's feeling okay. You can go ahead and head back to the bench. And he said, nope, I'm going right down through the tunnel, and I'll see y'all later. And that is how the ghost of Alejandro Guido was born. He was on our roster for several seasons, but never actually took the pitch. And then a kind of a crazy thing that I do have as part of this day in LAFC history. Bam, love you, buddy. Have a great time at Universal. The craziest thing that I have, I think, on all of it was March 22nd, 2020. That's right. Right at the start of the global pandemic of coronavirus, the first match to officially be postponed due to coronavirus for LAFC in their MLS regular season schedule, because obviously we were supposed to play Cruz Azul in the CONCACAF Champions League game before that. But the first MLS match to be postponed for LAFC was to have taken place March 22nd, 2020, our Week 3 home match against Portland. That is it's an incredibly somber thing to realize when we started postponing those matches. But let's flash forward a day ahead, March 23rd. Everybody get on your social media platforms and go wish Sergi Palencia a happy birthday, because Sergi turns 1 year older today. Happy birthday to one of our absolute rock solid stars on the back line, Sergi Palencia. Also, March 23rd, 2017, a full year before we would play a match, LAFC acquires Carlos Alvarez via a transfer from San Antonio FC. And that acquiring of Carlos Alvarez was the first ever signing in LAFC history. He spent some time with Chivas USA and a cup of coffee with a handful of other clubs. We acquired him, but we would never actually play Carlos Alvarez. So he would never suit up for the black and gold. Also on March 23rd in 2019, a massive comeback win as LAFC defeats Salt Lake at Bank of California Stadium 2-1. But it wasn't until they went down to 10 men in the 84th minute that LAFC was able to make the comeback. Talk about a frustrating match. LAFC dominated in every way, shape, and form. Diego Rossi scoring in the 40th minute, but that only served to level things. It took Walker Zimmerman in the 92nd minute, scoring his first ever goal in MLS, not off of a set piece. A couple of guys made their debuts, and I always love how things come back full circle years later. 2 players on that date making their LAFC and MLS debuts. Of course, 2 players in the Sporting Kansas City game last night making their MLS and LAFC debuts. These 2 players, though, Javi Perez came on in the 78th minute for club legend Andre Horta. And, of course, my favorite nickname in all of LAFC-dom, 3 umlauts, Nico Hamalainen, coming on for Jordan Harvey and had the game-winning assist. When I say we dominated this match back in 2019, how about shots 19-3, on goal 7-1? How about 11 corners to 0 for LAFC in that one? And yet still down to 10 men, RSL was holding on until the waning moments. LAFC takes 3 points at home. Bank of California Stadium defended once again. And that is this day in LAFC history. Chris Lafferty, you know that going on right now is my favorite soccer tournament in the entire world. That would be the U.S. Open Cup. And it was very exciting to be in the building at Titan Stadium to watch LAFC 2 at least begin the defense of the U.S. Open Cup with such a statement against FC Arizona 7-1. Were you watching the game? Do you care as much about the Open Cup as I do? Your thoughts, sir?
I've always loved the Open Cup. It was the first ever LAFC match that I've seen was an Open Cup game. So it's got a special place in my heart. But this one I did not catch. I was working that night, so I had to miss everything. However, to see a 7-1 victory put on by LAFC2 was very encouraging, because for these guys, these boys down there in Fullerton, you know that, you know, even though MLS kind of makes it feel like it's a secondary thought by putting the academy teams or the 2 teams in the tournament as opposed to the main squads, that these guys are taking it seriously and that they are going to give it 100%. So while we have the distinction of being the champions from last year and not being able to defend it with our first team, it's great to see that our guys down in Fullerton, our LAFC2 team, are going to give it 100% and really do their best to make sure that we bring respect for year 2 to the Open Cup.
Eric Holstrom just mortified me right now in the chat, and I can't tell if there's no way he'd be kidding, because how would he know? Eric Holstrom just said, you sat right near the mic scarf and we could hear you talking on the stream. I for sure sat right underneath the camera, but I didn't think the camera also picked up the sound. I mean, I know cameras pick up sound, don't get me wrong. But Ben, I was at the game, and Heidi and I were there along with Ben, and Ben and I were joking about how great would it be if that was actually the mic that picked up all the sound. Oh dear God, that. Oh God. Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag on that one. Ben and I were having a fantastic time at the match, as you guys might have all heard. That's
there was
hilarious. I have to go back and watch this game.
Well, it's a good thing that we didn't do a recap episode of that episode or that game, because if you wanted to know what Scarf's thoughts were, you could have just watched the game.
Yeah, shoot, 7-1. My head was visible when I got up at halftime. There's nothing more mortifying than what's going on in the chat right now. Oh dear God. Okay, so apparently all of my chat was heard throughout the U.S. Open Cup broadcast. That's fun. All right. I'm mortified right now. LAFC did defeat FC Arizona in the first round of the 2025 U.S. Open Cup 7-1. Matthew Evans and LAFC first-teamer 16-year-old Jude Terry both had braces in the win. No, he's not young and has braces. A brace is when you score 2 goals. So congrats to both of those boys. Their next match, it's no April Fool's joke. Tuesday, April 1st against AV Alta FC at Lancaster Municipal Stadium, the former home of the Lancaster Jethawks, the minor league team Yeah, I guess, Ruben, I am the voice of LAFC too now. I guess it's official. 7:30 p.m. out in Lancaster on Tuesday. Come hang out with the Scarf. I'm going to be there.
I'll be there too.
Oh, nice. All right. Lafferty's going. It's the night before I leave for Costa Rica with 26 middle schoolers. So why not go see some football while we're at it? Real quick, Angel City managed their second consecutive 1-1 draw to start the 2025 season, this time on the road at Providence Park. Kennedy Fuller in the 9th minute got ACFC off to a lead, but the Thorns scored in the 30th minute to end the scoring. Their next match is March 30th versus Seattle. Rain at BMO Stadium. And as a reminder for all your Angel City needs, please be sure to listen to Angel City Chicks and follow them on social media on all of your platforms. So Lafferty, after 8 matches in what wound up being 26 days, LAFC finally getting a much-needed break, a solid week of training, albeit without Denis Bouanga. Of course, he is on international duty with Gabon. He had 2 goals in their first match, by the way, if you're keeping up with how Denny is doing. I believe, did they play? Is it Seychelles? Was that who they played? I'm trying to remember who they played. I think it was Seychelles.
Yes.
Yeah. So congrats to Denny Bouanga on the brace. So we head out to Sporting Kansas City. I still can't believe everything. Oh boy. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna get the Open Cup match out of my head. First thing that I thought of, Chris Lafferty. I absolutely love Sporting's home kits. The Argyle, the three diamonds, that whole look. I mean, that's been their look since they've been in Major League Soccer. I just love the look.
They've done a good job with their uniforms throughout the years with the stripes, the swoops. But what I liked about these, which is very satisfying to me, was a lot of times they would fit a logo or something on the jersey inside the diamonds on the Argyle pattern. It wasn't just over it somewhere. They placed it directly in there. Gosh, so good.
Yeah. On the back on their collar in the 3 diamonds, it says SKC, which is kind of neat. They just, for a club that doesn't have much else going right for it right now, their home kits are absolutely fantastic.
It's like one of those best insults to people who are like, you don't have a lot going on, but you're pretty.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Sporting, I guess you're the pretty ones. I don't even know. I'm going to step as far away back from that one as possible, Chris Lafferty.
No. I didn't say they were the best looking ones out there, but I was just saying, well, that's all they got going for them is what I'm saying.
All
their jerseys look nice. That's the best thing I can say about the team.
All I know is that in the first half, man, our collars got made fun of again on the broadcast. They were talking about how the popping collars, I don't know how they looked on television or not. I don't know. I don't know her name. I don't remember her name, but she said she didn't enjoy the collars. And look, it's hard to disagree when every time they cut to them, there's like one collar up and one collar down, or like Sergi was having to put it down in one of the shots. I don't know. I would have just loved
weird. What had me confused though, Scarf, was when I bought mine right there. You can see it. I bought the authentic, and it comes with the collar stitched down, like they sewed it to the lapel. It's not, or to the collar. Yeah. It's not sticking up at all. You can't flip it up even if you wanted to. So I don't know why it does that for me, but it doesn't do it for the players.
Well, it must pull a little bit, like when they're trying to jump or when they're trying to throw in or when they're trying to move. There must be something on there. I don't know. Look, I don't have the ability to be a professional athlete, so I can't tell you what a collar would do to restrict my movement. I mean, pretty much zippering up this jacket that I'm wearing restricts my movement from time to time at this point. So I'll have to try it on and really give it a good old try and see what happens.
I believe though I found the answer to this collar dilemma though.
All right, so Lafferty's got some scissors, so we'll see what Lafferty does to that jersey next time we see him. Look, the last 8 matches for LAFC against Sporting Kansas City have been an absolute nightmare for Sporting. LAFC is 6-0-2 against Sporting in those 8 matches. winning on aggregate, if that was such a thing, 18-4, but only 3 of those goals were even scored by Sporting Kansas City players. They got a little help from Chiqui Palacios on the goal scoring for Sporting Kansas City. Head coach Peter Vermees, in what sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you it is not. This is his 700th match in all competitions, in all forms, for Sporting Kansas City. For those of you guys that don't know, Peter Vermees came up as a player through the Sporting Kansas City organization, and no one's ever showed him where the parking lot is because he has been around ever since. 700 matches as either a player or a coach for Sporting Kansas City. And I don't care what anybody has to say about Peter Vermees, even though I think his seat is probably maybe the warmest it has ever been. But then again, he's his own boss. He's like the John Thorrington and the Steve Cherundolo of Sporting Kansas City. So I don't know that he's going to fire himself. But my, 700 matches for any club at any point is absolutely incredible. So congrats to Peter Vermees on that. And Lafferty, as much as the old standby of those blue Argyle kits have come to mark Sporting Kansas City, so have players like Tim Melia, Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and Red Card Roger Espinosa. And you look up and down the lineup now for Sporting Kansas City in that 4-3-3 that they ran out there, or in the 18, or even on the injury list, and you don't find some massive names. Tim Melia, I believe he's currently fun employed somewhere. Johnny Russell currently without a club right now. Alan Pulido back to Chivas Guadalajara. And Red Card Roger finally retiring after a 79-year MLS career in which he has all of the red card records, Roger Espinosa. But these guys, Lafferty, they've come to mark who we've known and loved for a long time in sporting kits.
That's right. You think of those names when you hear of Sporting Kansas City, they've been the icons of them. And so when you're going into this game, it's kind of hard to know who you want to watch out for or what you're going up against. Well, with the exception of the coaching staff, they scout for this stuff more than I do. But this is a team that, for fans like us, kind of really hard to get a sense of who we're going to play. We know that they got off to a kind of rough start so far this season, but when you're facing a team of so many unknowns for us, it really could go any way. So while it wasn't maybe the scariest game on paper, it's something that you always have to keep in the back of your mind when you face a team like this. Who are these guys? How are they going to stack up against us? We have no real proof, proof of concept against them. So yeah, it's without those names, it's kind of maybe relieving the way some of those guys have played against us, but also, still doesn't make it super easy or super comforting to know.
Yeah, look, the couple of names obviously still there on the roster. Guys like Daniel Shallowy, who didn't start in this match, Eric Tommy, Jake Davis, who I think is a fantastic young player who played really well in this one. But yeah, it's very, very different going up against this Sporting Kansas City club, especially when they've got guys making their first MLS starts. They've got a couple incredible stats about Sporting. First of all, they have not won a match in their last 12 going back to last year. And that's a massively long streak for a Peter Vermees-led team. But how about in their last 41 matches, Sporting Kansas City has started 41 different lineups. That's just dealing with those type of things, whether it's injury or whether it's not playing so well, or whether it's wanting to try new things or switching up your formation because of who you're playing. Still, 41 matches, 41 different starting lineups. That's got to take a toll. And maybe Peter Vermees trying to do a little bit too much with what turned out to be far too little. Let's get right into it. I'll cover Sporting Kansas City. Lafferty, of course, will take the lineup for the black and gold. We mentioned kind of tongue-in-cheek out are Tim Melia, Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and Red Card Roger. That's because they're not on Sporting Kansas City anymore. And in goal, replacing Tim Melia, his backup since 2020, and he has played sparingly each year, would be John Pulskamp. 11 clean sheets in 48 matches for Sporting, so about a 25% clean sheet rate even as a backup. On the back line, Logan Ndenbe, Robert Voloder, the 23-year-old who spent his youth with Philly's former club Eintracht Frankfurt. Jake Davis, who came through the academy, and this kid, he was my standout player in this match from Sporting Kansas City. Jake Davis, he's been on the first team since 2021, and I've got to give him his flowers. If he were here, he would certainly be talking about him. Getting his first major league start would be Jansen Miller, the former Indiana Hoosier for one Christian Philly Philemon. So there you go. An Indiana Hoosier on the pitch for Sporting Kansas City. In the midfield, one of their newest designated player would be Manu Garcia, the Spanish midfielder who came over along with another player. We'll talk about that in just a second. Came over along with another player from Greek side, Aris Thessaloniki. He spent some time with Manchester City. Yes, that Manchester City, playing in 4 games and scoring a goal. He came up through the Manchester City system, so I was really impressed. Really looking forward to seeing what we might take away from Manu Garcia. He just had an okay game, but a couple moments of brilliance. Also in the midfield, Nemanja Radoja and long-time MLSer Memo Rodriguez. And up top would be Captain Eric Tommy, who would be playing in his 100th cap in all competitions for Sporting Kansas City, 17 goals and 14 assists in his previous 99. The other player to come over from Aris Thessaloniki would be TAM player, but who they have him kind of like a designated player expectation, would be Russian Shapi Suleimanov. And in the middle, playing in the 9 role, who really looked like he didn't want to be there after about 55 or 56 minutes on the pitch, would be Dejan Joveljic. And we all obviously know Dejan Joveljic from his time at the Galaxy, where he scored 45 goals in 123 competitions. We would see players like Daniel Shallowy and Willie Agata, a couple other subs coming on. Mason Toy, the Indiana Hoosier, would come on, so they would have 2 Hoosiers on the pitch for Sporting, as well as Tim Leibold and Kyrie Shelton, who Kyrie Shelton only, 8 minutes, I think, through the first 8 matches of the season, or 7 matches of the season so far for Sporting Kansas City. So that's a little bit of a surprise. But that's the lineup for Sporting Kansas City. We got a couple players out and a fun new lineup for Steve Cherundolo and LAFC.
Going back to what you were talking about with Dejan Joveljic merely not wanting to be there, I must say, as someone who spent time in both Kansas City and Carson, California, and by time I mean like an afternoon, I preferred Kansas City a lot better than Carson, California. So I don't know, maybe things will look up for Dejan soon, hopefully. Anyway, back to our guys out there. Out for us this game was Olivier Giroud, the lightning rod, Lorenzo Del Valle and Marlin, all injured. And Denis Bouanga was off serving his country in their international duty against Seychelles, as we talked about. He had 2 goals. And starting in our in-net for us was Hugo the Hero Lloris, defenseman Ryan Hollingshead, Aaron Long, Eddie Segura, and Sergi Palencia. Happy birthday. In the midfield, we had Timothy Tillman, Igor Jesus, Mark Delgado. And up front, we had Cengiz Under, the young guys, Nathan Ordaz and David Martinez. More on him pretty soon. In our 18, we had Tomas Asal, Maxime Chinon, Kosi Tafari, Artem Smolyakov, Yayaboa, and Saldana, Wibowo, Oposi, Holm. Welcome to the 18, Aiden Thiago Holm. And Scott, what number was he wearing?
Look, that's the talk of the town. I don't know how maybe Philly and Odin kind of work this out, but that would be number 80 for Odin Thiago Holm. By the way, the first player in LAFC history to take the pitch wearing any number in the 80s. So that's fun. Odin Thiago Holm wearing Philly's number. So that was kind of fun to see. Real quick, to give you an update on Gabon, Gabon did beat Kenya in their qualifier this morning. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, excuse me, with 2 goals. I'm overcome by talking about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. With 2 goals for Gabon. Denis did start and play the entire 90 minutes. So they got wins in both of their matches, which is huge for World Cup qualifying for Gabon. So congrats to Denis Bouanga and their 2-1 victory over Kenya. Things are looking better than they did at the start of these 2 games for Gabon to qualify. And of course, with the teams expanding to what I believe is 64, and I'm going to take a drink of something in just a second, it looks like Gabon really might have a shot at qualifying this year, which would be incredible. And I can't breathe, so I'm going to drink something right now.
The thought of Gabon qualifying for the World Cup just has Scarf all sorts of shook up.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, look, this World Cup, you guys, first of all, obviously, with a lot of it taking place in Los Angeles, if we can get teams like Norway, obviously, with Erling Haaland, teams like Egypt with Mo Salah, teams like Gabon with Denis Bouanga and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Look, teams like Italy, hell, we haven't qualified since 2010. How, Italy? How have you not qualified since 2010? There will be 16-year-old boys running around Italy, dreaming of what it's like to be able to play for Italy in the World Cup only because they've never seen it in their entire lives. 16-year-olds running around Italy at the start of this World Cup. Unbelievable. Anyway, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's a really smart move to expand the rosters or expand the number of clubs, because the more you can put an Erling Haaland on television, the more you can put a Mo Salah on television, but especially Mo Salah, what it would mean for a player like him to wear an Egypt kit on the world stage in the World Cup, something that, look, Egypt, not a great world power when it comes to football. Hell, even teams like Norway and Portugal obviously with Cristiano Ronaldo, who still make it most of the time, but just, you want to see the biggest stars play for their home countries. And I think that it'll be a really cool World Cup. I'm going to go to as much of it as I can when it's here in the United States. I know, Lafferty, you and I have talked about it. It's just going to be something really cool. Sorry, I know we went off on a little bit of a track and a tangent, but I got overcome with emotion for Gabon.
So well, that's what happens when you have to recap a game against Sporting Kansas City. You start looking forward to teams from Gabon and Norway and everywhere else.
Look, it was a 2-0 victory for all of you out there, and one of my first half highlights was definitely the play of Ryan Hollingshead. He had a great ball across in the 8th minute. It was, putting balls in dangerous places, giggity, that SKC had to drop back maybe 5 or 6 guys in the 18 to defend every single time. In the 17th minute, just an incredible save by John Pulskamp. I mean, Ryan Hollingshead thought for sure, all right, that's it. I'm moving past good old Graham Zusi here in some of these other records. But no, John Pulskamp said no after a bit of a great combination play. Timothy Tillman to Nathan Ordaz to Ryan Hollingshead. And to Pulskamp's credit, he just threw that right arm up for no reason whatsoever to get as big as he possibly could. And that's exactly what the ball hit. So, look, as much as Pulskamp, gave up the 2 goals and was a little frustrated at the end of it, he absolutely kept them in it. I mean, Nathan Ordaz gets denied right there at the top of the 18 in the 18th minute. After the big save that Pulskamp makes, it doesn't take long for LAFC to claw right back as David Martinez, who was my player to watch, by the way, and I said that he would be scoring in this match. David Martinez just rifles a no-doubter right over the arm, into the arm, around the arm of John Pulskamp. Marky Delgado to David Martinez, and Martinez just put every single thing that he could into this ball. Pulskamp did get a touch on it, but got caught leaning. He took one half step to his left when David Martinez went right. And the cool part about that, not just that LAFC takes the lead 1-0, but at 19 years and 43 days old, David Martinez becomes the youngest player in MLS history to have a goal contribution in 5 straight MLS road matches. That is as specific of a stat as one can get, but I will take it for David Martinez. Lafferty, your thoughts on the incredible David Martinez?
Well, first, I think that goal goes back to Marky Delgado, who has to get a lot of credit for that. We've talked about him as being one of our most stable players on the pitch and one of our best pickups of the offseason. And again, he shows through in a goal play leading up to a goal. But with David Martinez, it's a lot of the talk early on was, oh, you have Ordaz and Martinez, 2 young guys who are really looking to flourish, looking to make things happen. But Ordaz has been the one who's been able to find the back of the net. But even with that, still, you got to look at Martinez and say, hey, look, this kid is no matter whether he's putting the ball in the back of the net or helping someone else, he is making such a huge difference. And I think that's so important because he was catching a little flack for not being able to put all the shots away. But for what he's been able to do in these last 5 games, especially, has been just really impressive and inspiring for us fans to see that, yes, this kid is still learning, still growing, still adapting, but man, he's already thriving at the same time. So I'm excited about David Martinez. I just want to say that whether he comes out of the game with a goal or not, he's no doubt going to be involved in our success, no matter whether it's him putting it in or somebody else. So I'm excited about Martinez. I'm thrilled with what he's done for us so far this season, and I'm fired up to see the way that he goes for the rest of the year, because for as long as we're going to have this kid, man, we're really going to be on the benefit of it. So again, pumped for him. Congratulations to him on that record. Very specific, but very well deserved at the same time.
And look, we talk about all these countries and all these players. David Martinez, no doubt, feeling rather snubbed by Venezuela's national team not being called in. That's another team, another country, Venezuela, looking to qualify with these larger expanded fields. And I absolutely think that David Martinez had every right to be upset, every right to play with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And that's what we saw from David Martinez with that goal in the 18th minute. He probably put a lot of that aggression, a lot of that frustration into that shot. We had Ryan Hollingshead. And by the way, on that play, not just Marky Delgado, but if you look right before that, it's Ryan Hollingshead stepping through his man that enables Marky Delgado to get that takeaway. And you look just 10 minutes later, Ryan Hollingshead with another great cross where Cengiz Under winds up hitting the crossbar as that ball goes all the way through. Ryan Hollingshead, part of the offense in every way, shape, and form. Just 4 minutes later, finally, another Ugo dime as Ugo finds Ryan Hollingshead, who lays it off for David Martinez. And that should have been a brace for David. It should have been an assist for Ryan Hollingshead. It should have been another keeper assist because they give 2 in Major League Soccer. And what I thought there after the 32nd minute, Lafferty, is this is a club that needs to put away their chances against a team like Sporting, because we're only up 1-0 after having several very, very good chances through the first 30, 32 minutes or so. And all you need is what almost happened in the match, a silly handball in the box or somebody taken down, or a bad trip goes one way instead of the other. And then all of a sudden you give a club like Sporting a chance from the penalty spot, or you slip and fall playing defense, and now you're racing back. And now it's 1-1 in a game that should have been 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 before that. I was a little nervous letting Sporting Kansas City hang around, but luckily, Lafferty, we were able to get into the half still up 1-0.
Yeah, how we weren't up 4-0 at the half is kind of beyond me. But like you said, we have to put away our chances. I'm liking the fact that we're getting more aggressive and giving ourselves chances to score, which is something it looked like we were a little anemic on doing in the last few games. But I like the way that the aggressiveness is starting to pick up from our players. We talked a lot about Hollingshead on a couple of these big plays. He was another guy, just like Martinez. There was a big kind of lull in between his goals that he was scoring, and it seemed like we were on Graham Zusi watch with Ron Hollingshead for for months and months and months. And then when he puts them away, but the thing I love about Hollingshead is that look how involved he is on all these important plays in the match, and the fact that he's still going, he is constantly motoring to get himself in position to surpass that record. So I love seeing that from Ryan Hollingshead, and I think that that's going to allow other players like Martinez and everything to kind of follow suit and open up opportunities for them if not only are our forwards a threat, but also guys with the ability to strike like Ryan Hollingshead is going to take a little pressure off of our forwards in the future. And that's really going to open up a lot of doors for them. And so if guys like Martinez could channel whatever aggression he has or, resentment for not getting called up and turn that into to some goal scoring prowess, hey, great. I'm all for it. I think what was impressive to me too, I wanted to go back a bit what you were talking about Martinez, was for it, maybe he had a little frustration or anger with not getting called up, but he doesn't really show it, right? Like he keeps cool, he keeps calm, and he's always in the game trying to make those plays. So a couple of my takeaways from the half were, one, stability in the midfield with Delgado. You had Ryan Hollingshead continuing to attack and create opportunities and chances for our forwards, and guys like Martinez playing with a lot of that passion and fire that is going to be necessary. One thing that Steve Cherundolo talked about after a couple of the losses, especially up in Seattle, was effort from the team. And I think we were all surprised when he was calling out players for effort, which is not something that you hear coaches say a lot, and also kind of a slippery slope. But he put it out there, and I think we saw a lot of those problems fixed in this match.
Yeah, I think that you go back to Hugo Lloris, who didn't have to make a save until stoppage time, and it was a fantastic save that Hugo made as Dejan Joveljic headed it back to Manu. And Manu tried that little flick over Hugo, didn't get a ton on it either, but a great save, wound up being his only save. Talking about our defense, just not letting things through again. That's what we saw over the first 4 or 5 matches, where it wasn't even the amount of shots, it was the shots on target that you were like, oh my God. Like they're not allowing, there's 0, 1, 2 every half. And some of those would be right at Hugo. But in this one, we needed Hugo to make one big save in the first half, and he did. We needed Hugo to make one big save in the second half, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And he did as well. I thought, my first half takeaways, Ryan Hollingshead, Cengiz Ünder, David Martinez, they were so dynamic together on offense. I thought we were getting exactly what we needed from a Denis Bouanga-less front line, where you still had the dynamism, you still had the attack. And I think a lot of that does come from Cengiz Ünder and David Martinez. I didn't think Nathan Ordaz had the best game in this one, certainly not the best half. But you know what? He was in that 9 role, which is a little bit of a different role for him to play than being on the outside of that, maybe a little more comfortable as a winger instead of in the middle of that. And we saw him kind of drift out wide and Cengiz Ünder go in the middle for a little bit. I thought LAFC, look, we were a little lucky not to have conceded maybe 1, but Sporting should have been down maybe 4 or 5. I was shocked. According to MLSsoccer.com, the possession was 73-27 at the half for Sporting. LAFC allowed 5 corners, but it never felt like they were in a ton of danger. It just felt like they were having to defend quite a bit. So that brings us into the second half, and it took all of 9 minutes. And I think that was when we saw a lot of the guys on Sporting break. Because if you don't know what happened in their last match, they went down 3-0 at halftime to Minnesota, and then came all the way back for a 3-3 draw. And that was at home. I just felt like this one also at home, but then going down 2-0 to a team that doesn't have their best striker in Denis Bouanga. I just saw them I don't know. You saw the body language from these guys on Sporting Kansas City after the 54th minute. A beautiful set piece by Cengiz Ünder. And I'm sorry, but Ryan Hollingshead had to feel a little bit snake bit as he got all of that on the header, but it went right at Postcamp. But luckily, he got so much of it that Postcamp had to give up a rebound. And it was, I believe, the knee of Aaron Long that put that ball away. Long's second goal of the season. He scored in our CONCACAF Champions Cup loss to Colorado in Colorado. LAFC leading 2-0, getting a goal where I think I said on One More Sleep that we'd get one from an unlikely source. Aaron Long being a relatively unlikely source, of course. Ryan Hollingshead feeling like he got robbed not once but twice now, but he'll take one for the team, that's for sure, as LAFC now, after 54 minutes, Lafferty, up 2-0.
Well, an unlikely source is a source, of course, but I called it. Now, I'm not a commentator on matches like you are, even if unintentionally, but I was calling it as we were watching. I go, we're scoring on this. We're scoring on this because just the way that watching Under, we're all looking for him to be that goal scorer, that threat that we know that he can be. But what I was seeing from him in this game, where this guy's passing is just levels above everybody else that he's playing. He's finding ways to get the ball out there and just make defenders just miss with his passing that is unlike anything I've ever seen in MLS before. So I'm really encouraged by him. And I go, you know what? The way that this guy can control his ball movement while it's in the air, just the way that he can get it to work the way that it does, I go, this is going to create a lot of trouble for Kansas City to defend. And sure enough, it was. The shot on goal was amazing from the spot. And then so for Ryan Hollingshead to get in there and have that opportunity, I was not surprised at all. I was only surprised that it didn't go in. But for Aaron Long to be, again, Johnny on the spot, which he has been a couple of times all year in some really big moments for us, has been it was fun to see. And again, I think even Aaron Long was surprised because he didn't get a foot on it. He got halfway up his leg and his knee. He pounded that thing in. So unlikely source, unlikely method, but hey, it worked.
Yeah, and I thought, again, that was really the play that broke Sporting Kansas City. They panned over to Dejan Joveljic a couple of times, and it just looked like he wanted out of the match. We had Sergi Palencia getting like a silly yellow at the hour mark, where I just felt like he didn't need to. He got turned on by his guy and had the foul from behind, and the referee was just looking to kind of even things out in terms of yellows at that point. So Sergi picking up that yellow, I thought it was a little silly. Excuse me, there in the middle of the park. 6 minutes later, they get a couple of the veterans into the game. Willie Agata, who provides a nice speed aspect for Sporting Kansas City, comes on for Dejan Joveljic, who didn't look like he wanted to be in the match anymore. And their captain, Eric Tommy, comes out and gives the armband over to another longtime Sporting Kansas Cityer in Daniel Shalhoub. In the 70th minute, we all kind of held our breaths as VAR took a look, as David Martinez, look, it's always nervous time when the player makes contact from behind. And that is what David Martinez did. We are very, very lucky that a quarter of a whisker's eyelash before he made a little bit of contact with the player. He also made contact with the ball. So it was said by the referee, and I love that they make them turn on their mics and explain what the hell they saw on the screen first. So he turns on his mic and he says, the player won the ball cleanly. And I love that phrasing, cleanly, as well. So maybe not as much of a touch as it appeared to be in the box. And then my only question then, isn't that embellishment? If the player does it in the box, and shouldn't they also have gotten a yellow card? But that's okay. I don't care. So the penalty was overturned. And in the 72nd minute, it's double the Indiana Hoosier on the pitch for Sporting Kansas City as Mason Toy comes on for Shapi Suleimanov. And honestly, I thought, look, you want to talk about this day in LAFC history. Lafferty, 75 minutes in, we get Wibowo coming in for Cengiz Under, Adrian Wibowo coming on for David Martinez. And that means the front line that we were playing for the last 15 minutes of the match would be Adrian Wibowo, Wibowo, and both of them flanking Nathan Ordaz. I don't know that we'll ever see that front three again, and we only would see it for about 10 or 11 minutes as Nate would come out late in the game. But I don't know on whoever bingo card was playing bingo in this one had Wibowo, Adrian Wibowo, and Nathan Ordaz up top for LAFC.
Well, if you're following the chat here on the pod, you might be seeing all of Genuine Cougar's notes about his gambling picks and predictions for the weekend. So I don't know, Cougar, chime in with us and see if you had that or any money on that lineup being trotted out there for LAFC. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was exciting to see. I think here's the thing about guys like Wibowo and Yaboa. Both of those guys, they're going to see limited minutes. I think they know that. But every time they've come on, I've been really encouraged by what we've seen from them. Yaboa, especially, I love his hustle out there. He brings his speed. He brings 100% effort, and he really is a fresh set of legs once he gets out there, and he plays like it's minute one in the game, and which could really throw off whoever he's playing against. So I'm excited by both of those guys. I like that they had their opportunity in a game like this. I think it's safe to put them out there, and I'm happy for them that whenever they get their minutes, because I think that they're earning them.
All right, you ready for a bit of trivia? I'm going to put you on the spot here. This will be kind of fun for me. First of all, Adrian Wibowo. I don't expect you to know this first one, so I'm gonna let the millions know about it already. Adrian Wibowo becoming the second player of Indonesian descent ever to play in Major League Soccer. The first being former FC Dallas goalkeeper Martin Pas, who we got to play against him several times. This is obviously his LAFC debut for Adrian Wibowo. Congratulations to Wibowo. 35 matches for LAFC 2, 21 goal contributions in those 35 matches. So the kid comes ready to go. But Adrian Wibowo wearing number 77 on the back of his kit, Chris Lafferty, who is the only other LAFC player to wear number 77 on the back of their kit.
Our dear friend of the pod, and all-around great guy, Big John McCarthy.
That's
J-Mac
right.
Daddy himself.
Unfortunately, plying his trade 13 miles down the road. But yes, Chris Lafferty getting points for the trivia question. The only other number 77 would be John McCarthy. Congrats to Adrian Wibowo making his debut after coming up through LAFC 2. And then, 11 minutes later, because I can do math, in the 86th minute, a couple of subs for Sporting Kansas City. And I've given him the nickname, hopefully Nkosi likes it. He's the closer for us. Back in the day for the Dodgers, they used to play Welcome to the Jungle as Eric Gagne and his goatee trotted in, and it was must-see TV if you were at Dodger Stadium 2003, 2004, 2005, before all the Canadian whiskey and steroids wore off of Eric Gagne. Let me tell you how incredible that was to know what was going to happen at Dodger Stadium as he came in throwing 100-mile-an-hour fireballs. You knew the closer was coming in. I need them to play that when Nkosi Tafari comes in, because he has been the closer for us in 2025, and he brought a friend with him, the Norse god himself, Odin Thiago Holm, finally making his debut, coming on for Nathan Ordaz. We've lost Lafferty for a quick second. The debut for Odin Thiago Holm, becoming the first player in LAFC history to wear any number in the 80s. And of course, it is Philly's number 80 for Odin Thiago Holm. By the way, the night for Odin Thiago Holm, 3 minutes, 2 touches, including 1 defensive action. So he didn't have a whole ton to do, did Odin Thiago Holm. But congrats on the debut. Lafferty, you good there, bud?
I'm not laughing at anything about Odin Thiago Holm's debut. I just can't get the Canadian whiskey and steroids out of my head when it comes to Eric Gagne.
Listen, for everybody that saw Eric Gagne come up in 2000 when he couldn't get through 5 innings and was throwing like 91 miles an hour, then the Dodgers send him down to the minor leagues for rehab. And then he comes back and he looks like the second coming of Godzilla holding a fastball. Dude could throw the ball through a wall, put on 35 pounds, and his hat size changed half an inch. I don't know what they thought was going on with Eric Gagne, but I can tell you it wasn't normal, that's for sure. But I still have my T-shirt with the goatee on the front. In fact, I may have to bust that out, assuming I can still fit in a T-shirt that I bought in 2003. Doubtful, but we'll see. But the Eric Gagne game over days at Dodger Stadium were fantastic. In stoppage time. Ruben, we'll see. I might even try to make it myself. I don't know, Ruben. I have no idea what's going on anymore. In second half stoppage time, Artem comes on for Ryan Hollingshead. Artem Smolyakov closing things out and wasting a little bit of time for LAFC. And in the 5th minute, look, we got to say it again. This game could have very well ended 2-1 if not for Hugo Lloris in stoppage time again. Maybe Sporting just thought that they were only allowed to shoot on goal during stoppage time. They got their only shot on target in the first half during stoppage time. And this one, their only dangerous attempt at all. An unlucky handball by Adrian Wibowo right near the 18. And Memo Rodriguez just puts all of it into this ball, trying to get it on goal. But a great save. No one, luckily, was there for the rebound. And that is that. Despite having only 4 shots on target, LAFC comes away with the victory 2-0. LAFC with just 1 corner kick in the match, and that was the Cengiz Under one that wound up leading to the goal. So I guess when you're that efficient with your opportunities, we gave up 11 corners to Sporting and defended them all reasonably well, or at least well enough. And what I thought was really interesting, Lafferty, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me is we go up 2-0 relatively quickly inside an hour, and then we possess the ball for most of the second half. Not sure what Sporting was trying to do, but they dominated possession in the first half. We dominate possession in the second half. A surprising turn of events for sure in that second half. But look, to go on the road to take 3 points, I don't care that it's from lowly Sporting Kansas City. We'll take 3 points for whoever wants to give it to us.
Sure, gladly. I appreciate the points. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's what I wrote to them. Yeah, I wrote to Casey. I was like, hey, well, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate that. No, I'm not one to turn down charity from them. Don't worry.
Absolutely not. You're absolutely right. Look, couple of takeaways, right? Congrats to Wibowo and Holm on their professional, I guess not professional for Holm, on their LAFC debuts. Holm obviously coming over from Celtic, among many other clubs that he's played for. But Wibowo and Holm making their LAFC debuts. Excellent defending. I said we would need to go back to basics on the back line, and we absolutely did. An incredible job of team defending. I thought it was really interesting that Steve making LAFC work on the defensive end a little bit more. Look, as much as I love that front line of Adrian Wibowo and Yaya Boa, and when you take out Ordaz in the 86th minute, now you're really limiting the goal scoring options for LAFC. He was telling the players out there, this one's on you. Figure out a way to defend this one and put this one away. We weren't going to be attacking going forward with much, that's for sure. I thought Hugo looked great when he needed to be, and that was only 1 or 2 times on the night. And LAFC really did everything they had to do, Lafferty, to get back to basics, to team defend very, very well, to get the clean sheet, which I think mentally is also very, very important for them, especially against a bad team like Sporting, and get the 3 points on the road.
Look, they had their season went from 0 to 60 to start. They had 2 matches a week for a month straight. And now this is kind of their first reprieve to really get back to what they're about, maybe get a better grasp on everything that they trained and learned in the preseason, and to start to develop their identity and who they are on the pitch at this moment. And, it's something Steve alluded to a lot, where now they have more time to help guys recover during the week and prepare for the next match. So they're going to take advantage of that. And I think that this is just going to be reaping the benefits of having a break in their schedule. Not a break, but a lightened load in their schedule. So, I wasn't surprised by yesterday, not just because on paper we're a much better team than Kansas City. I think that we're going to start to see some of these guys really enjoy some time off during the week and a lightened workload, and that the benefits are going to start pouring in as long as they keep their focus and their energy up. That this team, we're really going to see who LAFC really is, the true identity of them, and I'm excited to see how they let it shine.
Yeah, look, especially with the big matchup looming 1 week from yesterday, March 29th, heading down to Snapdragon, San Diego FC, our first match against them. We do have a week in between this one as well. And look, San Diego's look great with Dreyer and Chucky Lozano. They're off to a very, very good start in their MLS maiden voyage. Maybe we need to remind them who we are up here. It's going to be a lot of fun heading down to San Diego. And of course, just 4 days later, LAFC taking on Messi and Inter Miami at BMO. I am so bummed. That is the day I leave for Costa Rica. So I won't be able to be there in the building. But our CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinal leg 1, Wednesday, April 2nd at BMO. Don't forget, y'all, that's an 8:30 p.m. kickoff. Enjoy the LAFC After Dark at BMO Stadium, that's for sure. So 2 games coming up in 4 days, but that's after a week break from this one. Maybe we'll see the status of Marlon and his hamstring, although, again, I don't expect him to play much or if at all in the month of March, maybe even not through the first couple weeks of April. Lorenzo De La Valle is still working his way back from training. Obviously, Olivier Giroud dealing with a leg injury as well. So we'll see if any of those guys are able to get healthy. But again, congrats to the boys on their debut. This is episode 350 of Defenders of the Bank with one Chris Lafferty. It's Scarf here. And again, just want to say thank you to everybody out there. However you acquire your Defenders content. Lafferty has one more thing I think that he wants to say before we're all done. But I want to say thank you real quick to everybody, however you acquire your Defenders content. We so appreciate the support for 350 episodes of this podcast. We will forge our way to 400. And with that, Chris Lafferty.
Well, going back to thanks, I wanted to first reach out and say thank you to everybody who messaged me about the marathon. That's why I was missing for a couple episodes on this. And Scarf held down the fort by himself. Appreciated everything. Got the marathon, got the medal. Was very proud of the accomplishment. But also just wanted to say to you, Scarf, and to Philly out there, 350 episodes. My biggest congratulations to you guys. Started out just as a fan of you guys, and then we became friends, and happy to be here helping you out, filling the gaps whenever you guys are having have other things on your schedule. So again, thanks for having me. Congrats on 350 episodes. It's been a pleasure to be here as a part of them. It's been an even bigger pleasure to be a part of them as a fan, because you and Philly have done just a tremendous job. So congratulations to you guys. Thank you to everybody who's been supportive of the podcast and keeping it going for 350 episodes. All you guys are incredible. So many wonderful people have been stopping me around BMO and just saying, hey, great job on the podcast, and just telling me how much you love Defenders of the Bank. Believe me, I do too. I'm right there with you as far as love. So thank you, Scarf, and thank you, Philly, for everything for the last 350 episodes. Truly a big accomplishment and one to be proud of.
Yeah, so appreciate it. Absolutely. And before we do sign off, I want to say a big thank you and congrats to our boys over at Happy Foot, Sad Foot, as they have hit the 200 episode mark. So congrats to all of our friends over at Happy Foot, Sad Foot on 200 episodes as well. The LAFC podcast family is just that. It is a family, whether it's Heart of LAFC, the originators, the podfathers who have been around a little bit longer than we have, or all of the other fantastic podcasts out there. We really do appreciate all the support. And if you guys don't know, head on over to Reddit. There is a great list of all the LAFC podcasts out there. I don't want to start naming a couple because I'll no doubt leave a couple off, but we do have some very good friends in this, and we so appreciate all of you in the podcast family. This is episode 350, and you know how we like to end almost every single one of these 350 episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.